with the why. The main challenge, the reason why we didn't come, I think the road basically shows it coming straight more or less through the backyard, my backyard. There's actually 3 different lots that are involved to get across that. Like Gary mentioned, that none of those owners are currently willing. And one is basically bring the road in straight and more naturally tie into Hug Drive down here. Another one would be to swoop it more north. If you come across this property line, this is all the owner that owns this land also owns that 50-foot strip. So it would be an option to try and tie back in here and come south across the bridge. So what we're trying to show here was basically with this, how we have shown right now, you still have kind of 3 different options of how you could tie that in the future, whether it be through here from the south or across the north.
And all 3 of those avoid using any Army Corps land. I think that was your
the top, yeah, the top one would, the green
okay.
one that would require Army Corps land. The red one would require Hug Drive to be upgraded pretty significantly, which could be a challenge, given the alignment of that road, both vertically and horizontally. So that's kind of why the comp plan showed that more of a middle ground there, trying to have so that growth to the north won't have to come all the way down and use Hug Drive. So.
So no showstoppers from what you heard from P&Z from your perspective?
No, I think, so the challenge would be is if we did try and loop this in, the biggest challenge from my perspective would be, one is the cost of that, kind of teeing it in, and of course putting all that cost up front, which would wipe out probably about 3 of these lots. So it just makes it a challenge. We've already got a pretty big challenge to try and bring water that full mile all the way up to the development. So it just, from a cost and payback perspective, just gets pretty ugly pretty quick going that route. So that's what we were just looking at. What other routes do we have? And ultimately, if you spend, like Shy Pattery estimated roughly $250,000 to $300,000 to rework this road to Y it in. And basically it's just going to go to here for probably the next 10, 20 years. I don't know how long it takes to get all the way across there.
Down the road.
So.
Yeah, and I can appreciate where you're at on that. I mean, this is a big move for us as a city, and we have an opportunity here that we don't always have with some developments to try and get this established correctly, or the version of correct as close as we can get. And so I appreciate kind of the discussion last Monday, and you're going to need to be some give and take on both sides, but this is a big step. I mean, I'm excited for it, certainly, but fighting for those things the best that we can with what we know, and some of that, there's neighbors and things, so enough said there.
Any other questions, Ron? Anything else to add from P&Z's perspective?
No, they covered it pretty well. Seemed pleased with the lot size, the density. They thought it was a good-looking addition to Polk City.
Okay. Excellent. All right, I'll take a motion on 5.
Motion to approve resolution 2017-46.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Sarchet?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Dvorak?
Yes.
Morgan?
Motion carries. See you again in July.
All right, thanks.
Item 6, consider motion to approve fire department's proposal to replace a special ops unit with an enclosed trailer, save the trailer, and contribution from the fire department association. The net out-of-pocket expenses not to exceed $1,250 from FD budget. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I guess I'd be happy to answer any questions. Really what we're trying to do here is we think we have an opportunity to take the vehicle. It's cheapers, 1998, I think, so it's getting up there in age. This would be that special ops old ambulance that we have. We do with our ice rescue and command post, kind of various other things. And the Gator trailer, we have a flatbed trailer. Basically take those two, sell them, and combine them into one enclosed trailer going forward. So we based the $8,000. This is it's a little bit, we're guessing at what kind of revenue we're going to get on this, right? So all I can do is give you an estimate. So we use govdeals.com for capital stuff like this, and so we went out and looked up similar vehicles. So that's where that $8,000 came from. It's a bid process, so we can put a minimum on it, but we can't, say for sure what we'll get on it until we actually sell it. So, but basically taking the proceeds from selling that, trailer, the Gator trailer that we have, and then the enclosed trailer that we would combine everything into that one unit, it's about $12,000. So that's where you get the about $2,500 short. So I guess what we're asking for is permission to move forward with selling that old ambulance. We can get by without that one. We can't get by without the Gator trailer. We wouldn't have any way to get the Gator out without a trailer, so that one's a little bit trickier. But we'd like to start with that one, see what that brings in, and then we'll have a pretty good idea. Obviously, that's the biggest piece of that revenue. We need to make it all happen. So once we sell that, we'd have an idea exactly where we're standing. So this is just kind of an estimate of where we think we would be.
Questions, comments, motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Mordini.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 7, consider motion to approve the second reading of ordinance 2017-700, vacating an ingress-egress easement and Big Creek Technology Campus Plat 1. Motion.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Anderson,
Yes.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Mordini.
Yes.
Sarchet,
Motion carries. Item 8, consider motion to approve second reading of ordinance 2017-600, no parking and loading zones. Motion.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Dvorak,
Yes.
Mordini.
Yes.
Sarchet,
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Motion carries. Finally, number 9, consider motion to approve the third reading of ordinance 2017-500, fireworks. Take a motion, please.
Second.
Go ahead.
You got it. Roll call.
Mordini.
Yes.
Sarchet.
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Dvorak.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item 7, Mayor's Report. Only one quick thing. Just a reminder that Four Seasons is coming up, and I have been asked to make sure that you will all plan on the parade on July 15th at 10 a.m., just to make sure you will be there.
We are going to be in Colorado.
Ah, Dave.
But I can find
that's one last
I can
call.
find somebody that looks similar.
If he doesn't have to do it, I'm
I don't think you can.
I'm helping Dave get ready to go to Colorado.
I just need to know so that, because I had somebody call me earlier and ask me we needed a car count, so I told them I would find out.
one for you.
And then we'll all just kind of come in maybe.
So that's,
My apologies, honestly, we do have,
no, I got it.
from the 10th to the 17th, we actually do.
No, I got it. No, that's good. Yeah, okay. That's really all I have of major importance. Be some things coming here in the near future, but right now it's all good. Ron?
Nothing.
Dvorak?
First of all, I'd like to apologize for me not being here last month, 2 weeks ago.
Last month, 2 weeks ago?
Sorry. Seems like yesterday. It seems like yesterday. No, apologies for that. And that's really it. I mean, I don't like missing, and sometimes it happens. So,
Mr. Mordini?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Mr. Sarchik?
One thing I just wanted, from my perspective, sit in Ron's seat a little bit as the P&Z liaison and thank them for the work that they did last week. I know we've beaten this Wolf Creek thing up one side and down the other, but I have maybe a little bit barometer on comparisons for councils, but I don't for P&Z, but I don't know that they could have handled that much better. And I think on one end you can say these are our rules and pound sand, and on the other hand you can debate it to death. And I don't think either one of those extremes are good, but I do think to serve the citizenry it's better to be on the side that kicks things around. And temporarily living down there, I saw 2 of the group down there doing their homework. So
2 of the P&Z group.
2 of the P&Z that went down there, and so again, it that solution while extending the time, and honestly, I know there was some dissent on giving it back to them, but I think that was appropriate too, and there's a lot of history, and so just, putting two groups together and say, figure it out is the best thing. So, and just an example of the foresight they had on the plan here, and the discussion and perspective that they provided on Wolf Creek and on Whitetail Ridge. I thought it was a good meeting, and another example of the thoroughness of which and seriousness of which they take the formative phase that we are with all the developments going in. So I just wanted to bring that up. That's all I have.
I want to add to that real quick, not only from the P&Z perspective, because they did do a really good job, and I would echo those comments, but also from the residents that are down there that are being affected. I think their willingness to not just be totally, hey, this is the way that it's got to be. I think that they, although may have some issues with some history there, I think that in talking to a couple of them after our last council meeting, they understood where we were at with really, there was no way that we could take any action on it at the last meeting because of the way it was on our agenda. That sending it back to P&Z wasn't a case of us just punting it back to them. It was if there was going to get any action, and allowed them a chance to all collectively get together and speak. And I think that they did that, and I think maybe where they were really a month prior stating no way, I think that they kind of even willing to talk about it, and there may end up being a really good solution for everybody. I don't know, but
And maybe not, and I
Yeah, I
do
agree.
respect your position, Ron, that at some point we got to, figure it out here, one way or the other. But I'm hopeful that this extra step that we added will be a benefit. But
Well, thank you. And that group is very thorough. They all work hard. They have opinions. They can differ in opinions, but they all work together to reach an end.
great. Okay, Councilman Lane Sick, not here tonight. Council discussion. City Administrator, do you have anything to add?
I was going to talk about P&Z, but I don't think you guys already know everything you need to know. So I have
Easy enough. Attorney's report.
Nothing new.
Nothing more than what we already talked about. Engineer's report.
Nothing new.
Public Works.
Just that the brush pile was chipped, and it's over with. We're gaining brush again, so it happens every time.
Find any skunks?
No,
Okay, just checking.
we were looking.
they got chopped up.
I'm
Didn't
just
see that
curious.
either. And also, on your consent agenda, you hired Joseph Mollis tonight, and he wanted to be here tonight, but he's finishing up his job, and he's on the road right now, so he could not be here, but he's excited to get going, and we're excited to get him here and get going too, so.
And his start date's July 12th.
Mike, I would like to publicly thank you guys for getting on the bandstand and getting that painted and cleaned up. It looks nice, and I know that you've been able to get at some other projects with some of this seasonal help, and I think it's great. So,
They were at the library today, doing landscaping up there,
Great.
that we wouldn't have been able to get to at this point in time, so, yeah, it's nice.
I noticed a new bike repair station on Parker as well.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's installed.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Anything to add from the technology aspect tonight? Nothing? Okay, good job. Finance, double hat.
The only thing I have is that we are finishing up our FY17 budget. The end date is June 30th, but since today's our council meeting, that's pretty much it for our expenses. We've come in under budget. We're about 7 million, a little over 7 million on our budget this year, which we had 8 million budgeted, so I think we did good.
I think we did real well. Nice work. Fire department report, update on EMS billing.
Yeah, just real quick, I put a bunch of stuff in the packet on EMS billing, so just a little bit of history, so where we came from. So Frazier was doing our billing for, I don't know, the last 10 years, maybe even longer than that. Frazier was bought out by another company, originally said, nope, we're not going to change anything, everything's good, and then in January, they served our official notice that they're avoiding the contract with a 30-day notice. So at the end of January, Frazier stopped doing billing for us on the EMS side. So we only had about 30 days to start the process. And so we spent, honestly, longer than I would have liked, but a couple of months, evaluated all the options, I mean, there's all kinds of services out there from local. You can send your stuff across the country and they can bill it for you. Spent a lot of time talking with Ankeny on what our options would be. The good thing, we think we came to a really good solution here. It took us a little longer to get there than we were hoping for, but last year we migrated our patient care reporting software onto the Ankeny, the same system that Ankeny purchased and owns basically. And so we operate as an independent entity under their license for the patient care reporting. The billing software that Ankeny uses is from the same company and is all joined together. So what we've come to the agreement on is that we're going to do our own billing using that same system. So this will actually be the third system now that we have a joint effort that we're sharing software costs on with Ankeny. So this will allow us to do our own billing. We'll be operating under their license, but set up as a separate entity. We can do all our own stuff with the clearinghouse collections. All that'll be handled. Frazier, I'll just call it $15,000, somewhere in that neighborhood is about what it costs for Frazier. Deb's already been doing a bunch of work because when we were billing with Frazier, we had to do all the prep work ahead of time to get all the billing ready. So that doesn't really change. Becky in City Hall here has some experience in medical billing, so she's going to back Deb up on the billing. So those two together will be able to do this. I don't really anticipate any extra costs on our side from a labor perspective. And basically it costs us $3.65. And that's the charge for maintenance on the software that they charge you by run, and the fee for the clearinghouse that does all the transactions with the insurance company. So pretty cheap. Ankeny, again, I think this is a testament to the relationship that we've built with Ankeny over the last 10 years. Basically, we're doing it with no cost to them. They're not charging us anything. We're paying that $3.65. Again, that covers the maintenance. And then the only thing they wanted to cover is if we need to use them as consultants for training or help us troubleshoot or whatever, they wanted to be reimbursed. And so they're coming up with a dollar amount for that. But basically for no cost from Ankeny, we're going to be able to use their system. So and they really could have said, hey, we want you to split the cost on the software, which or many ways they could have went, I guess. But I think that's a good testament to that relationship. So all in all, we have about $1,000 we have to do for training, which we are moving forward with. And it looks like we're going to have a little bit of spend to get set up with the clearinghouse. But so call it maybe a couple $1,000, I think we'll be into a new billing software. All of the runs, I know you're thinking, so we haven't billed a run since the end of January. So those are all still in queue. Most insurance companies lost 6 months, so we'll get those all caught up. In fact, I think they are getting ready to start kind of plugging those out. So we'll be sending out a whole bunch of bills. So the fire department revenue looks a little rough for last year because we're missing a few months on there. But all of those will get caught up on, and then we'll be able to stay caught up going forward. That's pretty much it.
So we're trading $15,000, is that what you said, for Frazier?
Yeah.
To about, what was it, just $3.65?
$3.60, yeah, a couple thousand
So,
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's 15, but that's the number you need to be putting out.
Yeah. It's good cost savings. It's definitely a good cost savings. And honestly, probably the bigger advantage, I mean, is we have control over it now, right? I've always, and I know for years, it's always been a stress point where we weren't the voices of our billing, and so sometimes situations were handled in ways that maybe we wouldn't have handled it, and so this puts that control really back at us, and we can make sure that we don't get any of those situations. We have that ability to have control, so I'm pretty excited about it. This will set us up really for quite some time. We can grow and do a lot without adding any costs. So that's the other advantage.
Thinking back, I think we switched to Frazier in like 2003.
Okay, so a few more than 10 years ago. Yeah, been a long
Been
time.
quite a while. Good, thank you. Anything else?
Police department.
Oh, I'm just asking.
I thought you meant anybody else altogether. I'm like,
I took all your time.
Police department, anything else?
I would just like to thank everybody that's helped get our police department remodel off the ground publicly. Council for your support, approval of getting it done. Lindsay's been my partner with architects and contractors going into it, and Lindsay's been a great support. Daniel coming on board has been a whiz at getting us up and running and moving the fire department. And saying that, I think the person, I'll say it's been the biggest help, but that made it actual move possible has been Chief Gubbins, and allow us to infringe on their hospitality and allow us to store a whole bay's worth of stuff over there and utilize one of their rooms upstairs for our police officers really was the linchpin to make it all happen operationally once that we set a demo date. So thank you, everybody. We really, really appreciate it. And I'd also like to offer anybody, the mayor and Lindsay got to walk through the PD today. If anybody wants to, it'd take 2 minutes when we're done, and that's anybody that's here. It's safe right now. It's all demoed, but there's nothing started yet. So it's safe to walk through and just kind of get a look at what's going to be there. So if anybody wants to, when we're done, grab me.
Thanks for the tour there.
Yeah.
Library report?
I'd like to introduce Brittany Burke, who is our new youth services librarian. So she started on Monday, has lots of library experience, so she was able to hit the ground running, and we're back to full staff.
Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that. Yeah, welcome aboard. Anything else? Nothing. Neighborhood Citizens Group? Nobody here. I will take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Wow, short. Yeah, 7:05 every now and then.